Hey guys, I wanted to give you a report on my latest UFO Skywatch in CE-5. So get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Yeah, last weekend, my UFO group, we used to be part of MUFON, but we broke away. And now we're the Texas UFO and Paranormal group or something like that. Yeah, so we did a UFO Skywatch in CE-5 out at beautiful Lake Somerville, where we've done several Skywatches before, and we've had activity every single time. The first one was the most amazing when people were interacting with these beings of light during the meditative phase of our CE-5. I didn't see anything, but multiple others did. Like 6 out of the 20 of us were having these interactions. Really cool. And we had also beings apparently show up. I say apparently at the second time. I did have one particular experience at that time, but mainly I didn't see much at that time during the CE-5, but I did see some unexplained objects in the sky. The third time, there's lots of unexplained objects in the sky. I think we all saw them. Okay, so which brings us to this time. I may or may not be leaving out any that we've done at Lake Somerville. And this one started off really slow. First of all, a beautiful day at the lake. It was just gorgeous on these campsites at the lake, right by the lake. Just a lovely day. We watched the sun come down. It was awesome. There were about 10 or 15 of us, kind of a smaller group than sometimes. But a very nice, very cool, chill day at the lake. And then, it gets dark, and the people that want to do CE-5, we separate from the others, and we go and we do our CE-5. There's only about 4 of us. And, I'm leading the CE-5, trying to do my best. I am the person that led us originally in those first 2 times when we were having beings come down. That was my Reiki instructor, Bonnie, and she's just amazing. One of these people that spends hours every day meditating and, is in touch with beings and so on, and was able to call these beings down. So I did my best trying to imitate Bonnie and, do what I could. And nothing really seemed to happen during the CE-5 or immediately after. It was a very, very slow night. And we were really kind of, giving up. It was about 10 o'clock or so when things finally got going. We had been seeing these 3 stars above us. We saw a bunch of stars, but there are these 3 particular stars forming this triangle. Well, at one point suddenly went off, and then another point went off. But the third point was still there, which was interesting because if clouds were obscuring, those other 2, why didn't it obscure that third one? Well, we didn't see any clouds. Anyway, it drew our attention to that area of the sky where the triangle was. And sure enough, UFOs started to show up, or at least white, moving objects in the sky. We didn't know, could they be satellites? Could they be planes? We had flight trackers out so we could, cross off planes. Could they be satellites? Well, we had, one of our members had binoculars, and he was looking at these objects with his binoculars. And he said that 1 or 2 of them were making trajectory changes. So, they're making turns, so they're not, satellites, right? So, we continued to watch this area of the sky, and there was a lot of activity. These objects would come along, and, they would appear and move along and then vanish. And, more objects would come along and appear and then vanish. Much like the activity that we had last time at that particular hotspot, not at Lake Somerville, but it was the night that I had the orb buzz my car. And we were doing this, CE-5 and Skywatch at this place of high strangeness. And we had all this activity. And in that particular activity was very similar to this, where you'd have these objects come, appear and move along slowly and then vanish. And then another object come and go. But in that time, it was much more dramatic. The objects were much brighter. Some of them were maneuvering a little bit in the sky. It was a much more dramatic experience. And then, of course, I had an orb buzz my car on the way home, which was pretty cool. No orb buzzed my car this time, and nothing really exciting happened. But we did have that intense moment for about 20 or so minutes where we saw a bunch of objects moving through the sky in the area of that triangle, which is really interesting that something drew our attention to that particular area. And right then, a bunch of activity started to happen. Again, for a short, period of time. But we saw, who knows, 10, more than 10, maybe 20 of these objects. So pretty cool overall. It got us really excited. We were so pumped, after this night of, Deadsville, nothing was happening. CE-5, nothing, nobody's having any contact. And finally we get some action. It was pretty cool. So just for that moment alone, it was pretty neat. Got us all really jazzed. We were passing the binoculars around, trying to see what we could see. It was hard for me to see anything through the binoculars with my glasses, but anyway, it was cool. So it was a pretty mild night overall. It wasn't like a gangbusters night like last time or like that first time, especially out at Lake Somerville. But it was a beautiful night on the lake. We had that one intense hot period for about 20 or so minutes where we were seeing these objects. So overall, it was awesome. I don't know if the activity that we were seeing had anything to do with the CE-5 because that occurred like an hour before, and none of us were really having anything going on with the CE-5. Again, there was only like 4 of us. I do think there is a power in group meditation, and I think there's a power in single meditation. But a small group like that, I wonder if it has the same effect as a larger group. Like that first time we did CE-5 out at Lake Somerville, we had a much larger group overall. We had like 50 of us, and we had about 20 people that did the CE-5. So I have to wonder if that made it more powerful, and of course being led by Bonnie, who is amazing. Anyway, that's my story. That's what happened at our latest UFO Skywatch. I wanted to bring you that report. Not super exciting, but hey, sometimes it's not super exciting, but there was that one period where it did get pretty cool. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you've had your own CE-5 experiences lately or UFO Skywatches. What have you guys been seeing in the skies? Let me know all about it in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Hit the button, all that kind of good stuff. Buy a t-shirt, buy a coffee mug, become a channel member. Channel members are rock stars. And I really do appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.